Welcome students. This is lecture number 6 of real-time operating system. The topic of today's lecture is embedded processors. So in this lecture we are going to see different processors that are used inside an embedded systems. So let's see what embedded processor is. So specifically designed microprocessors that are suitable for embedded applications. That means these are the microprocessors that are part of an embedded system. That means in an embedded system, you can have a microprocessor for controlling and monitoring applications. So those microprocessors who are designed for embedded system or can be used for embedded systems are known as embedded processors. So you can say it like that: a programmable chip that is a part of an embedded system is an embedded processor. It can be a general purpose processor. It can be a digital signal processor, a microcontroller, ASIC, and FPGA. Fine. So, what should be the features of a embedded processor? So, it should be task specific. Fine. Because the embedded system requirement is something like that. Its design should be something to task specific. That's why the processor should also be a task specific processor. The power consumption should be low. As you all know, embedded system design should be such that the power consumption should be low only, because most of the embedded systems are battery powered and you cannot replace any component of an embedded system so easily because they are compactly designed, and sometimes they are under the wall fitting or sometimes they are a part of a larger machine. So you cannot easily replace things. That is applicable for the battery also. That's why the design should be such that the power consumption should be minimal. The reason is that because embedded system is also a task specific thing, that means there is no additional requirement is there. That's why power consumption is also low. It follows the Harvard architecture because it most of the embedded system requires Harvard architecture. That means we have a separate data memory and program memory. RISC architecture, most of the embedded processor uses RISC architecture or follows RISC architecture for better efficiency. There might be some exceptions present, but in general, they follow the Harvard architecture as well as RISC architecture. Now, these are some examples of embedded processor. Intel 8051. So this is a family of microcontroller designed by Intel. These are 8-bit microprocessors with varying RAM and ROM size and 4 8-bit ports. Then Atmel has AVR series. So AVR 8-bit to AVR 32-bit processors are designed from the Atmel. Then Microchip PIC is other example of embedded processors. Then Texas MSP 430 and 432, they are very good processors if you talk about real-time applications. Then you are having ARM microprocessors. Okay, after that you are having ARM processors. You have seen its application in currently mobile devices. Most of the mobile devices that are using Snapdragon processor, they are based on the ARM architecture. And if you talk about the ARM architecture, it follows the Harvard architecture only in the terms of the bus architecture. And that means ARM processors are having unified memory. That means data and program memory resides on the same chip, same, but you can access data and instruction at the same time because the bus architecture supports this thing. That means ARM is the exception that you can put it into the Harvard architecture as well as the von Neumann architecture. Now, coming to the embedded system design or embedded processor design, so it consists of the hardware part, software part, and the interface part. The software part is the software code that is running on a programmable processor, that is embedded processor. It can have a microprocessor or a microcontroller. Now talking about the hardware part, it consists of IP blocks or customized designed hardware blocks. So if you talk about IP blocks are intellectual property blocks that you can use to create a design. Like ARM is a IP block only. So based on that, you can design a complete mobile board on that. Now, if you come to the taxonomy of embedded processors, so based on the application domain, we can categorize the embedded processors into three categories. One is the general purpose, second is the domain specific, and third one is the application specific processors. So if you talk about general purpose processors, they are designed in such a way that they can support different applications. That means they can be used in varying applications, and they are not application bounded or application specific. Examples are ARM and MIPS. So if you talk about ARM is you can see that ARM Cortex series is used in your mobile phone, and your mobile phone supports a variety of application. That means you can do web browsing, sensor data reading, or you can have a gaming experience. So this is a type of general purpose embedded processors. Now talking about the domain specific processors, we have DSP and microcontroller. So DSP is your digital signal processor, and microcontrollers are also application domain specific. Then talking about the application specific processors, so we have ASIC as and FPGA. ASIC stands for application specific integrated circuit, whereas FPGA are reconfigurable circuits. So we will go see these three categorization in detail. Now, first I will talk about general purpose processor. So these type of processors are designed to support various applications. That means they are not application bounded or application specific. You can use it for any general purpose. So you can see that your system uses the microprocessors which are general purpose processor, and it can also be used in your embedded system. Their architecture is something like that. They uses external RAM most of the cases, and they follows the von Neumann architecture. Most of the cases they follow the von Neumann architecture, but ARM is an exception that uses both architecture. If you talk about von Neumann or if you take Harvard architecture, their design complexity is high because they have to support variety of application. Then the computation power requirement, and their computation power is high as well as the power requirement high is high. So that's why they are normally do not used in compact embedded system designs. They are only used where we need a high computation power. Only then general purpose processor is used inside an embedded system. Examples we have already discussed about ARM. So ARM stands for advanced risk machine. This architecture is a risk architecture that supports very high level of parallelism, and the MIPS is very high. In the case of MIPS, this stands for million instructions per second. Now talking about the second example, MIPS is microprocessor with interlocked pipelining stage. This is again a superscalar architecture processor. That is a general purpose processor, but it can also be used in the micro embedded. Now talking about the domain specific processors. So domain specific processors are designed in such a way that the processor can be used specifically in a certain domain. Now example is something domain like we have a domain of signal processing or audio signal processing. So in such scenario we can use a DSP chip, where DSP stands for digital signal processing. So digital signal processing chips are specialized microprocessor designed specifically for the rapid processing of your digital signals in the real time. So DSP is one example of domain specific processors. The instruction set of this DSP is designed in such a way that it can process the digital signals in a very fast and real time manner. Now talking about the application specific processors, so we have okay, so application specific processors are designed in such a way that their architecture is optimized as per your application. Like in case of you are designing a complete system and you know about the application of your device, and based on this application you are optimizing your design of the hardware also. So these kind of systems generates very good efficiency if you talk about application specific processors. Examples of application specific processors are ASIC and FPGA. So if you talk about FPGA, what FPGA is, so FPGA is a kind of reconfigurable chip. How? So FPGA is designed in such a way that they are a array of logic gates and they are connected, and these connections can be reconfigured. So these logic blocks are configurable as well as the connection of this these logic blocks can be configurable. So based on the programming or by the help of programming we can reconfigure the FPGA chip based on our applications. So this is a very advanced technology where your single hardware design can be used for different applications based on how you code it. And next take ASIC. So ASICs are application specific integrated circuits, and they are designed in such a way that they can be used for a particular purpose only. Like we take the example of a digital voice recorder. So its chip, the audio recorder chip is designed for the audio recording application only. So it creates a kind of limited design, and these designs proves very beneficial because they are designed in such a way that they can suit only for the particular application only, and the minimal hardware is used in such scenario. Second example is something like that you are designing a chip that is specifically for the mining of Bitcoin. Now let's see. We have seen different we have seen the taxonomy of embedded processors. Now, if we compare these processors, so how the performance and flexibility is varying in this scenario, it can be depicted by the following diagram. So you can see that we are having an option of dedicated hardware like ASICs. Then we talk about reconfigurable hardware. This is having example of FPGA. Then talk about configurable processors. So you can take microcontrollers in that. Fifth option is your digital signal processor, and last option is your general purpose processor. So if you see the performance, you find out that the arrow is going upward. That means general purpose processors is having lower performance and dedicated hardware is having the highest performance. But if you talk about the flexibility, on the top of this column you find that there is no flexibility because the design of the hardware is something that is specifically for the hardware only. So flexibility is increasing from top to bottom, and performance is increasing from the bottom to top. Now let's discuss our example of embedded processor. So we are taking Atmel AVR. And why we are taking Atmel AVR? Because you have seen its application in the Arduino board. So Arduino uses the Atmel AVR CPU. That's why I am taking this example so that we will be aware with the Atmel that is used inside a Arduino board. So what AVR stands for? So AVR stands for Advanced Virtual RISC Machines. So as we have seen that ARM stands for Advanced RISC Machine, and they are named at Advanced Virtual RISC. That means they are following the RISC architecture. Now it varies the design from 8-bit to 32-bit. 8-bit comes in Tiny, Mega and X Mega processors, and 32-bit Atmel AVR is known as the AVR 32-bit. So at the last statement, it is shown that Arduino board uses Atmel AVR chips, and Arduino boards are very successful in designing applications for embedded system and IoT devices. So it's a good thing to study the AVR architecture. Now, Now talking about the features of AVR 8-bit microcontroller. So these are high performance and low power microcontrollers. They follow the advanced RISC architecture. Now talking about the instruction set, it is having 130 powerful instructions, and most of them are single clock execution. That means they will be completed in a single clock tick. Then we are having 32 cross 8 general purpose working registers, and the MIPS speed will be 16 MIPS throughout the chip, and the clock speed is 16 megahertz. It is having high endurance non-volatile memory segment of 8 KB, inbuilt self-programmable flash memory, then 512 byte of EPROM, 1 KB of SRAM with high endurance because it can support a read-write cycle of 10,000, and the flash is supporting a read-write cycle of 1 lakhs. Now talking about the peripheral, it is having three timers. Two are 8-bit timers and one is 16-bit timer. If you talk about the operating voltage, it operates with the 2.7 to 5.5 volt voltage, and the speed of the clock varies from 0 to 16 megahertz. It is a 8-bit RISC architecture. It is having RAM, ROM, and EEPROM. It is having three timers, and for interfacing, it is having SPI, CAN, then analog to digital converter, and USART. This is a generalized diagram of AVR 8-bit processor. So in this we are having the RAM, EPROM, timers are there. Then there is a interrupt unit, ports are there, and other peripherals option is there. At this point you are having a CPU, and this is your programming ROM. So this is your program memory, this is your data memory, and this is your timer, and this is your oscillator. Now talking about the CPU design of a tiny 8-bit processor. So in this you have ALU, then 32 8-bit general purpose registers, then there is a status control register, then you have a data SRAM of, then EEPROM, then input output lines are there. You are having a flash memory, instruction register, and instruction decoder. Then for the outside interfacing, it is having IO modules. Then there is an analog comparator that is for the processing of analog signals. Then SPI unit is for serial communication, and there is an interrupt unit for handling the interrupts. And if you talk about, this is a more generalized architecture for a AVR CPU. So that was for 8-bit, and this particular architecture can be used for 32-bit. Or so in this diagram you can see that it is having input output ports, then SPI interface, then three timers are there, SRAM is there, flash is there, EEPROM is there, then power and management and clock control circuit is there, your watchdog timer is there, then analog to digital converter is there, then USART is there, and this is your power section. So this is a very simplified but a powerful architecture if you talk about the AVR CPUs. So this is all for today's lecture. Thank you guys.